All right, let's cut that god awful music again. Happy Unhappy Friday, everyone. Coming to you live from our home studio here, hiding from the rest of my family. This is the Unhappy Gilmore Show, powered by Green Legion Radio and part of the Green Legion Radio family. We thank you for joining us from wherever you may be, whatever service you're using to tune in. So let's hope you're not still stuck at work at 7 o'clock on a Friday night. If you are, use the company dime to tune in. Pull up a chair. If you got the opportunity, crack open a cold one. Go ahead and do that. We are observing dry January over here, and we'll see where it goes from there. But let's cap this work week off and head into a nice weekend here. Where I don't know if you guys got snow yet there on the East Coast, but we're supposed to get at least a little bit of snow and wintry mix out here. They don't handle it very well out here. So it can be a bit of a shit show. But yeah, come on in. Water's just fine. Pull up a chair. We're probably going to go a little scorched earth on the birds. Rightfully so. That was about as embarrassing as it gets this past and on New Year's Eve too. You know, we're having a good time and just couldn't get it done. Again, so Lou Mancini in the room says, "What's up, fam?" And you hate snow. Yeah, you know, when I was a kid and I grew a kid growing up in Connecticut, I liked it. What I liked was the blizzards that would come through because everything would just shut down, right? You didn't people didn't go to work, you didn't go to school, the roads were closed, it was just a mess everywhere. But it was fun as a kid. Because, you know, you had the big snowball fights, you build forts you didn't have to actually build the fort, right? You basically just tunneled into the big mounds of snow that the plows had pushed up off the street. And just attack each other with snowballs and whatnot. Yes, we threw snowballs at cars. Yes, my friend who lived across the street, he actually threw one, missed the truck I think he was aiming for, and it went right off the windshield of a cop car. That was a fun run through backyards in about 1.5 feet of snow, trying to get away from the police on that one. Matt used to always go for the windshield, which was, looking back on it, kind of screwed up. Probably not the best idea, but when we were kids, we sure thought it was funny. I used to always try to aim for the trailer of the truck because it made a loud noise, right? Boom! So we were, the whole degenerate nature that you see every week here, it's been that way for a very long time, just varying levels. Now I come on here and act like a degenerate rather than, going and throwing snowballs at cars. Funny story about snowballs at cars before we get rolling here. There was an ice pavilion where kids would play youth hockey and everything. And they would do that all year round. And we would go up there and wait for the Zamboni to clear off the ice, and they would just push it outside. So there was this huge mound of basically snow. And now it's summertime. You've not seen a look of sheer terror on somebody's face than when it's 95 degrees out and you hit their car with a snowball. So there's some of my youth. Some other stories from my youth are probably best not put out. Let's just say I'm happy that these things didn't exist when I was out and raising hell, because I would have been in huge trouble. Huge trouble. Either that or I would have been an instant internet sensation. So, it really could have gone one way or the other. Or both, right? Who else we got here? Bryant Walden in the room. He says, and he loves snow. God bless you, man. And he says, hello, Happy New Year. All right. I love throwing snowballs at buses. Yeah. We had we were hellions. It was but what else were we gonna do? It's freezing cold, snow everywhere. Now don't get me wrong, we'd go shovel driveways to make some money. When I got into my early 20s and they would shut down the roads for the package stores would still open. So you'd grab a sled and take that up to the store and put 30 packs in the sled and then drag the sled back full of beer or whatever else. But it was fun. So don't get as much of that out here. Surprisingly enough. You look at where Cincinnati is geographically, you would think there would be more snow than what there is, and there's just not. And I'm thankful for that because they really don't handle it very well out here. They're just not equipped, right? It's not Philadelphia, it's not New York, it's not Connecticut, it's not the Northeast Seaboard. So they're just not used to as much of it. So when if what I would tell you is if 4 to 6 inches of snow drops here, it's a massive problem. Whereas 4 to 6 inches of snow up back in the Northeast, they're able to get rid of it, pretty quick. But yeah, out here, different. And then when we lived in Nashville, it was a whole different animal. So what was that? January of 2018? Yeah, January 2018. So the kids were off for Martin Luther King Jr. Day and off school, so they're home. It snows. And I think it dropped 3 inches of snow, something like that. The schools were closed for the rest of the week on 3 inches of snow. Yeah, that's how unprepared they are in that area. So down there, all of the schools are done by county, not by municipality. Like here, it's Fairfield School District or Westchester or Lakota, which is basically Westchester and Liberty Township. In Tennessee, it was Rutherford County, Williamson County, Davidson County. So, where we were, which is not in the city, but neighborhood, like a normal subdivision neighborhood, all that stuff. School was right up the street, kind of hustle and bustle type of area. That would be all cleaned up. But Joe Bob out in the sticks in the corner of the county, kick it off his street, everything shuts down. Unbelievable. One more story about snow in Tennessee before we get to the business here. There was one morning, it was snowing. So I used to take the kids to school. So Michelle worked nights. She's a bartender in Nashville. And I would take the kids to school on my way to the office in the morning. Real easy. I'd go up, hit the elementary school first, drop off the younger two, drive 5 minutes up the road to the middle school, drop off Grady, and I take the back way down back to my office. So it's snowing one morning, and it's snowing pretty good. No cancellations, no delays, no nothing. I drop off Liam in Brooklyn at Stewartsboro Elementary. It's literally, folks, 5 minutes up the road to get to the middle school. I'm in line to drop off Grady. A kid in front of us takes his tuba or whatever band thing he had out of the back of the car, walks up. We're supposed to be next, but the car doesn't move. The kid walks up, comes back to the car, puts the thing back in, shuts the hatch, and gets in the car, and they drive off. Now, I pull up, I tell Grady, wait, I yell to the teacher, what's going on? She says, they just canceled school. The amount of havoc that this caused, they canceled school for the day. Mind you, kids have already been dropped off at the elementary. The middle school is currently, students are coming in. Parents are already on their way to work in Nashville, which the traffic is already horrendous enough. It was a nightmare. So Grady stays with me. We go back down to the elementary school. I get a hold of my boss, tell him, dude, I got to work from home. This is a mess. I get back to the middle school or the elementary school. I walk in and it looks like the New York Stock Exchange. All of these parents are holding up their IDs. There are folding tables opened up with a bunch of teachers and administrators or whatever with binders with kids' names in them. And you had to show your ID to get your child. Everyone is just freaking out. Then they start saying, if you don't get your child, because they were going to start busing them back home. If you do not pick up your child in time, they're going to put them on the bus. With all of that panic, people who can't drive in the Nashville area to begin with, some snow on a bus. No way. I just pushed my way up to the front with my ID. I said, I need Liam and Brooklyn Gilmore now. They are not to get on that bus, or I'm holding you personally accountable. I wasn't the only one freaking out like that. A bunch of other people were having the same problem. I get my kids. We get in the car. We get home. Watching the news, they did end up busing kids home. Nobody's at the house. Kids don't have a key to get in. Some of these kids sat on their front porch for 3, 4, 5 hours before their parents could get turned around and get back home. The risk of kidnapping and all of that stuff that went on, oh my holy God. Anyways, that's my Tennessee snow stories. Woefully unprepared. Anyways, what are you guys talking about over here? Snowballs at buses, shoveling snow to make money was my favorite. Yep, you come home with a big wad of wet, cold money. Keenan in the room. Happy New Dawn, everybody. Yes, sir. Lou Mancini's going to eat dinner soon. We eat late here. Yeah, I've not eaten yet either, bud. I have been a little under the weather all week long. So this was it was a struggle. This was probably the longest 4-day work week that I in recent memory. I've been coughing, I've been congested. It's been a struggle. But we're here, and we're going to try to have a little fun for the next 40 minutes or so, and then call it a night and call it a weekend. So, let's get to the business part first, really quick. Folks, if you're tuning in on Facebook or Twitter, we totally understand that's where you're more comfortable. But ask anyone in the room, the best way to interact with us is through our YouTube channel. So even if you're more comfortable on Facebook or Twitter, do us a solid. Head over to YouTube, search the Green Legion. Subscribe to that. Hit your little bell for notifications, and do us another favor. Share that everywhere, okay? Share the YouTube page. Share the Facebook page. Share the Twitter or X or whatever the hell it's called now, right? Share our Instagram. Share it all over the place. We want to, as they call it, invade the interwebs with Green Legion and Green Legion Radio. Every Monday night, unless there's some scheduling conflict, you will have the Green Legion Radio All Pro Players Show that is live. That is a live show from Chickies and Pete's in Marlton, New Jersey. This will feature, hopefully soon to be, Hall of Fame wide receiver Irving Fryer. It will feature the Green Legion Radio crew. It will feature a former player agent and a current player on the Philadelphia Eagles roster. So that is every Monday night from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Again, scheduling permitted, right? Sometimes it does have to move around. And that will air. Not only can you go there and watch live, I know Super Sam tries to stream it whenever she gets the opportunity. But you can listen in on that on 102.5 Fox Sports The Gambler in Philly and South Jersey. You can go to iHeartRadio and search Fox Sports The Gambler Philadelphia or foxphl.com for their website. Again, that is 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. every Monday, schedule permitting. Keep track on the Green Legion social media pages for any scheduling updates with that. But you don't want to miss that. It's a really fun show, a really fun 2 hours. Not the interactive that we do here on a podcast. Keep in mind, this does not air on a radio station. This is us, guys. This is why I can get away with running my mouth about certain things without really facing much recourse. I don't. Quimby doesn't let on if he's faced any nonsense for me running my mouth. I think if he has, he just kind of laughs about it and takes it on the chin. But again, All Pro Green Legion Player Show. Don't miss that. As for our show here, still reaching out looking for sponsors. Again, I've been under the weather this week and coming out of the holidays. We're just out of the holidays. So people just opening up their books this year. I did reach out. There is a permanent lighting company here in the Cincinnati area that is kind of a newer startup thing. What they do is it's exactly what it sounds like. It's permanent lighting on your house. to where you wouldn't have to put up Christmas lights and take them down. It's permanent fixture to your home, and it works with an app, so you can change the color of the lights, for whatever season. You want to do yellow and blue for Easter, you want to do red for Valentine's Day, red and green for Christmas, all green on Sundays for the birds, whatever the case may be. I'm not going to announce the name of the company here until I talk to them. Trying to get them, see if they could use some advertisement, like we could use some sponsorship. And then, of course, my buddy down in Tampa Bay. But as always, folks, like I say, if you know anyone who is willing, a business owner, somebody who knows, somebody if you're a business owner yourself, small commitment, folks. We're asking for a year commitment, and not a whole hell of a lot of money. And what this would do is we would do live reads, and you would also get advertisement across all of the Green Legion social media pages, which reaches nationwide. To be honest with you, we've got huge pockets of fans all over the country, even across. I think we've even got them across over in Europe. So if anybody is willing and able and wants to talk, go ahead and reach out to me. I'm available pretty much all the time, and we can talk. Again, not a huge monetary commitment. It's really not. So that's what we're looking for there for this show. Apart from that, it's really all I got. We are, it's been a sad state of affairs with the birds, guys. And we'll get right into it here. We were up 21-6 at halftime of that game on New Year's Eve at home against a terrible football team. The Arizona Cardinals are not a good football team. Don't let any of this nonsense about Kyler Murray being this athlete. No, they are not a good football team. And at 21-6 at halftime, I could not have been alone thinking, okay, second week in a row, we've had a decent lead at halftime. This time, we're going to figure it out. We got outscored 29-10 in the second half of that game on our own turf by a team coached by our defensive coordinator from last year. We all remember him, right? The guy who couldn't get us one defensive stop in the second half of that Super Bowl. One defensive stop that would have given us another ring. One. And that clown, who then by dragging his feet costs us a shot at Vic Fangio for DC, goes to Arizona as their head coach, marches into Philadelphia after we were gifted. For all of the folks that, and I saw it all over the place, we should root for Dallas. We should root for Dallas. We should root for Dallas. Why? Because of the seeding purposes. Folks, seeding doesn't matter until you have the division first. And the fact that we were still in contention with Dallas for the division means you can't root for Dallas. Not that you ever should anyways. But you got to win it. Look, if Dallas is 7-8 going into that game against Detroit, and we just and we have the division locked up, by all means, hope that Dallas beats Detroit. No problem there. But when we're looking ahead at the possible, we can get the 2 seed if Detroit loses. Dude, you need Dallas to lose to get the division. You can't get the 2 seed without winning the division. And what happened? Dallas got away with it. We all know that ref blew the call. And then what? We go ahead and throw up all over ourselves in the second half of that game on New Year's Eve. At home. Against the freaking Cardinals. The Arizona Crimson Pigeons have no business coming into Philadelphia, coming into the Link, in front of that crowd on New Year's with that head coach and come in and kick our ass like that in the second half. There's absolutely no way that should have happened. I don't care how bad the middle of our defense stinks. They ran the ball, and it wasn't just the pass. That was the worst part about it. They threw for 228 yards and rushed for 221 yards. That was about as embarrassing of a loss as you can possibly get. The team has been flat for weeks now. I told you after we beat the Giants, this was not anything to get psyched up about. This was not, even in the win against the Giants, that was not a team that looked hungry, that looked like it was ready to go to war, that looked like it had figured something out, that looked like the same damn football team that we've seen for the past month or so. They just happened to play against a horrible team. And the Giants are horrible. So is Arizona. And we let them stuff it right down our throats the entire second half of that football game. The whole second, 29-10, we were outscored in the second half of that game. You only want to put up 10 points because you're up 21-6? I'm with you. But you got to take time off the clock, and you cannot allow the Arizona Crimson Pigeons to come in there and score 29 points in one half of football on your home turf. That can't happen. So you see why the players are frustrated. Look at me. I'm not even feeling I'm about to lose my mind. I see it going on over here. Walden's going crazy, right? Eagles are disappointing me. Keenan Harmon. The stadium was on fire for all the wrong reasons in the second half. Russ Taylor. We need to root for ourselves first. If we take care of our business, it doesn't matter. Bingo. Bryant Walden. I'm embarrassed as an Eagles fan. I almost came onto this show with a paper bag over my head tonight. Almost. Russ Taylor. They didn't stuff it down our throats. We landed on our stomachs, and dude, there is no doubt. Yeah. I mean, for the Arizona Cardinals, was I the only one that sat there looking at it like this? Like, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I know our defense has been horrible, but my God, it's Arizona. Lou Mancini, I'm seeing a window that's closing. Dude, these are all fair and appropriate reactions to what we're seeing from this team. They're terrible. They are terrible. So, overall, this is overall right now. I've been going off script for 3 weeks now, and I honestly think it's been a little therapeutic, right? We've been on here and just been able to come on and rant, talk about whatever. Bryant Walden feels like that window is shut. I don't know if it's shut, but some things are definitely going to have to change. I'm going to talk about that here in a minute. But here's your overall for the Birds right now. Offense, 8th overall in total offense. That is 16th passing, 9th rushing, 7th in points per game at 26.4. Don't get excited, because over the last 5 games, the offense has been scoring 19.8 points per game. The offense. We've gotten 2 defensive touchdowns over that stretch, right? This is during the last 5 where we've been 1-4 and just awful, right? We had the Jalen Carter scoop and score, and then the Sidney Brown pick 6. Okay? I'm talking strictly about the offense right now. The offense over the last 5 games is scoring 19.8 points per game, 20 points per game. That's not enough in today's NFL. On defense, overall, this is going to make your blood boil, so get ready for it. We are 23rd in total defense. We are 28th against the pass. We are 11th against the run, but I don't want anybody getting excited about that, because for 7 straight games, we've allowed over 100 yards. Okay? So this 11th against the run, We were at the top of the league just a few weeks ago. And then teams have just ran it down our throat. Overall, we are 29th in points per game allowed at 25.1. I mean, this is brutal. Over the last 5, we are giving up 29.6 points per game. 29.6 points per game. So over this stretch, this 1-4 stretch, we are basically averaging being outscored 30-20. Yeah. And overall, we score 26.4 and give up 25.1. The 28th against the pass. Because nobody in the middle of our defense knows how to defend a damn thing. Our linebackers are terrible. Our safeties, young. Okay? They show flashes, but a lot of the times they look. Reed Blankenship gets caught out of position frequently. He gets caught flat-footed frequently. He takes bad angles frequently. Okay? It happens. I'm not so sure he shouldn't try to throw on 20 pounds and move to linebacker. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is there. I like Reed Blankenship, but for every good play he makes, there's a clunker in there too. Now, he's still young, still learning the position. I get it. Turnover at defensive coordinator. Totally understand. Sidney Brown's a rookie. So, I don't want to be too judgmental on him yet. But the middle of our defense is bad. Really, really bad. And James Bradbury, for as great as he will look for 3.8 quarters of football, he will get smoked at the worst possible time or on the worst possible portion of the field. He will get torched by someone at the worst possible time. So, what happened from last year to this year? Well, the linebackers are shit. Okay? Yeah, they hedged it all that Nakobe Dean was going to be the answer there, and he is not. He's just not, obviously, right? He can't even stay on the field. And even when he was on the field, undersized and looked a step too slow. So that's not working out. Zach Cunningham, Morrow. Guys, we need someone in the middle of this defense. The loss of Kazir White and TJ Edwards looks really, really bad right now. Yes, Lou Mancini. Dean very much looks like a bust. Can't stay on the field, and even when he is out there, you're not seeing it, right? Bryant Walden feels like Blankenship is a backup, and he may very well be suited better as a back. Look, I like, and I don't want to turn this into a Reed Blankenship bash fest because I do like Reed. But he gets caught out of position. Now, look, some of the out of position and field awareness stuff, that might be coaching. I mean, I don't know how many more times I've said it here. Losing Denard Wilson was a massive problem. You don't believe me? We're 29th against the pass, or what? 28th against the pass. Denard Wilson is now the secondary coach in Baltimore. Baltimore is 4th against the pass per game, giving up 195.6. I mean, obviously it's not all Denard, but look, the guy did a great job with us. I was one of the guys that wanted him to be promoted to DC. And Nick wanted to go with Sean Desai. We talked about the Nick bad decisions. But this is all you need, folks. Okay? This is all you need to see. The overall on the offense looks way better than it really is. These last 5 games, we're averaging just under 20 points a game as an offense. Right? So 7th in points per game overall is totally skewed by the first 11 games of the season. The defense, Again, the 11th against the run. Okay. That was something we were supposed to be able to bank on. Run defense. Okay. Our pass defense was getting shredded. It's been getting shredded all year long. But you ain't running the ball against this front. Okay. They were at the top of the league just 5 weeks ago. At or near the top. And and then over the last 7 games, here's the totals. I'm going to give them to you right now. Over the last, so what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The first 9 games of the year, we allowed 100 yards on the ground just once, and that was to the Commodes, where they tacked 107 on us, and that game went to overtime. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Over the last 7, the lowest amount of yards we've allowed on the ground is 100. And that is to the Seattle Seahawks in that loss. On the ground, the last 7 games. At Kansas City, we surrendered 168 on the ground. Home for Buffalo, 173. Home for San Francisco, 146. At Dallas, 138. At Seattle, 100. Home for the New York freaking Giants, 106. And then home against the Arizona Crimson Pigeon, 221 yards on the ground. You have got to do better than this. Everyone has got to be better. I am not. Look, if you want my opinion, so they scheduled us at the same time as the Dallas game on Sunday, which I think kind of sucks. But I know why they did it. They don't want to lose either market, right? So let's be honest. You're going to scoreboard watch. Sirianni's going to scoreboard watch. Once Dallas starts crushing the Commodes, and I'd be absolutely shocked if they didn't crush them. Once that game gets out of hand, Sirianni's pulling everybody off the field, okay? So whatever stats or whatever happened, even the outcome of the game this week may not even matter. Now, if by some miracle the Commodes are able to hang with Dallas and there's a chance, then obviously the starters stay in, and we got to come out of the gates like this and like come out and like we're winning the game, okay? The last 2 weeks we've started out great. We were up, what was that? Let me see here. We were up 21-6 on Arizona. And we were up, this thing would load up here. We were up 20-3 on Dallas, on the Giants, right? Those games ended 33-25 Birds against the Giants. So we surrendered 22. We've given up 51 second half points over the last 2 weeks. 51 second half points, and we've scored 23. We've been outscored 51-23 in the second half of these last 2 games. I don't know what the hell is going on. No adjustments, either no adjustments or completely dumbass adjustments are being made at halftime. It's one or the other. Let's hop over the room for a minute. What are you guys talking about over there? Mancini, they blew it by not promoting Wilson. I agree. Slay needs to be let go. He's now out for Sunday. Slay and Devontae Smith are out for Sunday. Keenan Harmon, opponent needs 3 to 5 yards for a first down, and we give them 8-yard cushion at the snap. It's now pitch and catch and happened over and over on Sunday. Yeah, and right over the middle of the field. We don't defend it. James Monica. I don't know who that is. Steven Suter, if you're still in here, if you know who that is, vouch for him. I'm going to block him. It looks suspicious. Russ Taylor, my high school basketball coach preached, don't play down to your opponents. Look, you know what? I'm glad you said something. I'm glad that got brought up because I've heard that a lot. We're playing down to our opponents. We're playing down to our opponents. Thank you, Steven. They are now blocked. I don't think we're playing down to them. I just don't think we're that good. I think we're more talented than these other teams, but I believe that we have now gotten to a point where the coaching is so bad, the game plan is so bad that the talent on this team can't overcome it anymore. I think we saw the talent overcoming it a lot early on, and we got some breaks too. Josh Allen and Gabe Davis aren't on the same page, right? Valdez Scantling drops what was an easy game-winning touchdown. We've had some breaks. Jakey makes a 59-yard field goal in terrible weather. I'm not going to sit here and say it's all luck, because I do think for the most part it was the talent on the roster overcoming the poor coaching. But I think we've gotten to the point now where they're just not able to continue doing it, right? Or there's a massive amount of frustration setting in, which I think is another problem. Excuse me. Again, under the weather, folks. So I'm glad you brought that up, but right now, I don't think we're a good football team. And if you want my guess, regardless of what happens on Sunday, I think we are going to end up with a very early and possibly very embarrassing playoff exit. Okay, so we're either going to be the 2 seed or the 5 seed. So if we're the 2, we get the 7, which right now would be Green Bay. And they can run hot and cold. If we're the 5, we're going to end up likely at Tampa Bay. And I don't think at this point, with the way we're playing, I don't think we go to Tampa Bay and win that game. Now, I've also seen a ton of posts from people, because I do pay attention to social media, Wes. I do like to come on here and crack jokes about it. I've seen a lot of posts from people who are saying that we've been playing kind of, let's just get to the playoffs and then we'll unleash. Or when we get there, we're going to figure it out. Guys, that's not how the NFL works. Now, look, is there enough talent on this roster for lightning to be caught in a bottle? Absolutely. No question about it. Do I think we've just been sitting back, playing possum with this whole thing? No. No, I don't. I think we've just been horribly coached for pretty much the whole year. And I think it finally caught up with us to the point where the massive amount of talent on this team, albeit outside of the linebacker and safety position, outside of that, there's a lot of talent here, and I don't think they can overcome the piss poor coordinators at this point. What do we got going on over here? Do you think that the Chiefs and the Eagles just got beat down from their murder schedule? Russ, I mean, I think that definitely plays a role. I mean, we went over the Birds' schedule, which really, when you looked at a gauntlet, that came – my thoughts were that started with the Miami game. But just take a look at coming out of the bye week. We come out of the bye week at Kansas City, and they're on a bye week but home, right? Then we come home and we play Buffalo, who is on 7 days rest while we're on 6 after that huge – don't tell me emotions weren't running high in that game against Kansas City. Then we follow that up at home against Frisco, who's on 10 days rest while we're on 7. And follow that up with a trip to Dallas while they're on 10 days rest and we're on 7. And then follow that up with a trip to Seattle after Sirianni makes the dumbass decision to fly back to Philadelphia first. We get gifted an extra day's rest, right? Get gifted it for the team. It was a gift to move that game to Monday night. An extra day's built in, right? To put us on 8 days rest versus or whatever. And what does Nick do? He flies us back home first and then back out to Seattle, basically negating the extra day's rest. So do I think that the schedule, the gauntlet of the schedule had something to do with it? Sure. They're worn out. You could see they were worn out. They looked tired. But I don't think that's all of it. And I would say that's probably a little down the list from your poor coaching. And really, I mean, we rip the coaching all we want. Bad coaching doesn't make you fumble a football. Okay? Bad coaching doesn't make you force a pass somewhere. That frustration does that. Sloppy play does that. And unfortunately, as much as I love Jalen Hurts, he's been erratic this year. I do think coaching plays a role in that, and that I think he's a little unsure of himself. We talked about this early on. He looked very confused in the pocket. You signed Jalen to this monstrous contract because of what makes him special, right? His ability to be dynamic, to move around. And it really feels like they signed him that contract, and then they said, okay, let's dial that back and keep him in the pocket. Why the hell did you give him the money then? Because that's not why. That can't be. You didn't give him the money because he was a pocket passer. Let's be honest. Jalen Hurts did not get paid that huge contract because he's a pocket passer. Yet here we are. He's got that big contract, and you want to make him a pocket passer because you're trying to protect your investment. I believe there's something to that. And I do believe that's played a role in Jalen having his struggles this year. Now, that doesn't excuse the fumbles. Okay? It will excuse some of the interceptions, though. And some of the interceptions, keep in mind last year, he threw a lot of 50-50 balls last year, too. Our guys were coming down with it. AJ was making those catches. Devontae was making those catches. This year, he's throwing some 50-50 balls out there that we're not coming down with. And when you throw 50-50 balls, that's the way it goes. You know, when you grab that much of them one year, chances are the following year, you're not going to be as fortunate. So it's not all his fault. Play design, all that stuff plays a role in it too. And it's not bad to take those shots. It looks horrible when you are -7 on your turnover margin and in the bottom 5 of the league in that category, when last year you were at the top of the league in that category. That's what makes it look so bad. It's not horrible to take those chances. It's horrible when this sort of things happen. So, who else have we got here? So to answer your question about the schedule, yeah, I think that played somewhat a role in it, but I still think the coaching has been the worst part. Keenan Harmon, the tush push, and Jake are our only high points right now. I would agree. I totally agree. So do we have anyone, is there anyone out there who's been going to the games on a regular basis, kind of sitting up above the field? And, cause you know how it looks on TV, right? You just see the line of scrimmage, you see the snap, and then the camera just follows the quarterback and then the ball. You don't see how the play sets up. So if there's anyone out there who's been going to these games, kind of sits up, maybe in the second level or higher, and is able to see the whole field and watch kind of the play designs, the routes that these guys are running, can you give us some insight as to what the hell is going on? Because I feel like I really do feel like there's a lack of creativity on the offensive side of the ball. I think we get very kind of stuck in this, an AJ Brown slant. Obviously Brian Johnson is in love with bubble screens. You've all heard my take on that. He should be waterboarded until he learns what no bubbles means. It's probably a little rough, but whatever. But no, I want to hear from you guys. Folks who've been to some of these games. I put the link up there. If anybody's watching that would like to jump in and give their thoughts, go ahead and click on that and come on board. If you don't, that's okay. I understand Friday night people are doing their thing. Brian Walden, how do you go from sugar to shit in 1 year is my question. Coaching. Now, the defensive side's not just coaching. We lost guys there, too. Guys in key roles. Kazir White, TJ Edwards, CJ Gardner-Johnson. Avonte Maddox was out pretty much this whole year. But what else is new with him? So, not just Sean Desai, but also the fact that we lost guys at key spots and didn't replace them with anyone worth a shit. Tyler McPhee traveled to Philly for the last game, and it was a hard loss to watch. I would imagine. Thanks for jumping on board here, bud. Good to see you. Steven Suter. Mike Evans will eat Philly secondary alive. I agree. We did a good job against him week 3 down in Tampa. This is a much different team now. It's also a different type of Tampa team. Baker Mayfield is very much playing. He's playing really well. So they've kind of figured themselves out for the most part there. Russ Taylor, the coordinators have been playing Candyland in the booth. Chiefs had to fly to Germany. That's fair. That is fair. Andrew Bagley, hey roomies, what's up, brother? How we doing? We're just in here ranting and raving about the birds being so terrible. David Califoot, did my comment get filtered? What comment did you leave, bud? I don't see anything from you. Good to see you in here, but I don't see anything from you. Russ Taylor Bubbles made me think of back to school. The stripper in the hot tub Bubbles. Very nice. Andrew Bagley, I just hope they find some traction before the playoffs. You got one game to do that now. It's like, yikes. I would love to sit here and tell you that I think they're going to of course, I hope they magically figure something out between now and next weekend. Is it likely that happens? No. Not only we've become very, very predictable on offense. It almost feels like opposing defenses are in our huddle. Those screens are not working. And then this idiot. Now, so we're without Darius Slay this weekend. We're also without Devontae Smith. And the reason for that is because he injured his ankle because he was the lead blocker on a bubble screen. Look, I love Devontae Smith. If you've listened to this show for long enough, if you listen to the pregame show in Kansas City, you know that my stance, along with Quimby's, is that Devontae Smith is the most talented wide receiver on this roster. Why is he out there at his stature as the lead blocker on a bubble screen? Oh, hey, what do we got here? Eden Harmon in the room. How you doing, my friend?
I'm good.
You doing all right?
Yeah, doing all right.
The tush push. I love the shirt, dude. All right, so Keaton, you been to a few of the games lately?
I've been to every home game.
Okay, so you sit. Are you up in like 200s?
108, row 31. Get a clear shot of the whole field. I'm like basically damn near right over top the tunnel where they come out, but I'm up 31 rows.
All right, so help me out here. So from the way it looks on television, I think there's a lack of creativity on the offense as a whole, specifically in the passing game. What are you seeing at when the ball is snapped? What are these receivers doing? Where are my double moves? Where is all of this stuff?
Let me preface my answer by saying, first of all, I have never played organized football. You guys in this room, y'all know stats. You can go back 20 years to a game. I can't do that. I just know what I see currently. And if my lame ass can sit up in row 31, section 108, and tell you exactly where Jalen is going pre-snap, I know the guys on the other side of that ball know where he's going. They are so predictable. It is ridiculous.
Yeah, that's the way it looks. It looks predictable. It looks like the defenders are in our huddle.
The guy who stood next to me, my best man at the wedding, he went to the game with me, And to say he is the loudest guy in the world, he's in my ear the entire game, yelling, "Why in the hell are we always in the shotgun? Same freaking play every freaking." And I'm trying to convince him, look, the coaches are down there. Go talk to those guys. Ridiculous.
They do. They look stagnant. I'll be honest with you. There's a lot of times when it looks almost like a Penn State offense.
It looked high schoolish.
Yeah, it's very like, what are we doing here? You know, it's either a slant to Brown, or it's a bubble screen to whoever, or it's an out to the tight end, or it's that, you know, it's the shotgun handoff. Now, I don't mind the shotgun so much because that's where Jalen's comfortable. Right. We were in shotgun all last year too, so that part doesn't bother me.
And the biggest thing that got me was, from what I understood, start a game last week, the Cardinals were the worst at defending the run, and I it's like they ran the ball. It's like, where the hell is wrong with you guys? And like I said, I'm no football aficionado. I like the Eagles, you know, and I love football, but I don't do the stats and all that stuff like everybody else around me does. But I couldn't understand that. I'm no coach, but damn it, if they are the worst at stopping something, why aren't you constantly doing it?
Yeah, I agree. Our running backs carried the ball a total of 15 times. Jalen Hurts had 8 rushes for 25 yards, but DeAndre Swift had 13 carries the entire game. And
the last
against the league's worst rush defense.
And was it the last possession when we needed 20 yards and Jalen's trying to run for it? That's like,
yeah,
okay, you need 20 yards, now you're going to run, but when you need 3 yards, you were passing. Like, what the hell was on here?
It was brutal.
That clip they showed of that woman yelling like,
"What the hell are you doing?"
Well, they should have panned the camera around to the rest of the stadium, because we were yelling, "What the fuck are you doing?"
I mean it. We were all yelling it too. Yeah, I think I had about 45 people with our group here on Sunday. I mean, it's New Year's. We're all having a good time, and I mean, it was brutal to watch. The second half of that football game was absolutely brutal.
And I put it up in the chat. I've been reading, you know, like I'm in a lot of those Eagles fans groups, and they put up a thing earlier this week where they were showing the Baltimore Ravens regular season record in 2012 versus ours, and they are damn near identical.
Yeah, I saw that.
And the Ravens go on to win a Super Bowl. Well, they had a Ray Lewis. Do we have anything close to a Ray Lewis?
God, no. We don't have anything like that. Russ Taylor says they found that woman and did a story on her in the news. I mean, Philly's got to get something to root for here, right? I mean, God.
It's
David Conant says the reason you don't go to the defense's weakness is because the whole league has become pass happy, so they can't attack the weakness. Yeah, that's not the problem, Dave. The problem is we're inept at play calling. Like Keenan just said, we needed 20 yards. So Arizona foolishly tries that onside kick, right? Mm-hmm. Once they did that, I'm like, oh, we got it. Like we're going to run the clock. That was it.
Yep.
And you didn't need to do much to just get yourself in range for another field goal and be done with it. And they're calling dive plays. Like, you got to be a little bit more aggressive than that. And it was terrible. And David Conant, he's not entirely wrong. The league is 100% pass happy.
It is.
But when you're against the league's worst rush defense, and you have an offensive line like the Eagles do, you got to get out there and start pushing people around. And you should have done it the whole game. And they didn't do
it. I look at the end of the halftime, we're feeling good. We go down, grab another beer, smoke a cigarette, come back. By the end of the third quarter, I looked at him. I'm like, you ready to go? About, are you ready to go, Stan? I've been to every home game. I know how this one's going to end. Let's leave. But we stayed till the end, and that was the longest, quietest subway ride home.
Dude, we got outscored 29-10 in the second half. We've been outscored 51-23 in the second half of the last 2 games against bad football teams.
And
bad teams. The Giants and the Cardinals stink.
And listening to Sirianni, players he said some crap. And my thing, players just have to do their job or whatever. Well, look, my thing is, I realize our defense, especially the middle, is soft.
Terrible.
But damn it, you can't cover, and you got hands on a guy. Why can't you tackle him? I mean,
tackling's been bad too.
It's the basic crap that's going to kill us. I have no hopes of going further than maybe one game in the playoffs this year.
Maybe.
Yep.
That's a big maybe.
And thank the anonymous person who gave me 2 seats to every game this year. And thank you, Quimby, for 2 passes to the tailgate. I am burnt out. I am sick of those.
Yeah, I get it, man.
I'm going to start watching college football after Sunday. I mean, college basketball, my other passion.
Yeah, I'm big on college basketball too. We're getting into that time here. No, I do. If you told me to hey Adam, what's going to happen with the rest of the Eagles season, I would tell you we have 2 games left. That's what I would tell you, and I would say that and I'm not sure we win either of them. So now I say that this weekend we're playing 425, and Dallas and Washington is also at 425, which I think is kind of shitty, but whatever. They're going to scoreboard watch, and I expect Dallas to crush Washington. I do. I know it's on the road. Dallas isn't good on the road. Blah 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 blah. But I expect Dallas to crush Washington, and I expect that game to be over early. Mm-hmm. And if that starts happening, Sirianni is going to pull everybody, and then it's not going to matter what our game does. It's just not.
Nope.
And then we'll end up as the 5 seed, where we will go to Tampa Bay. That's what I expect to happen. Tampa's going to play Carolina, and Carolina's terrible. They should beat Carolina. That will give them the NFC South. They'll be the 4 seed, and we'll end up the 5 and have to go to Tampa. And I don't think we beat Tampa this time around. I just don't.
Well, I'm not a gambler, so I'm not going to bet on it. But however, no. I would love it to flip. I would love for us to beat the Giants. Cowboys get their ass kicked, and I possibly have another Green Legion tailgate at Xfinity Lot.
For sure. Yeah, always, man. You always want that. I mean, damn.
Yeah, I get to hug Sam.
Yeah, those are always good days.
All right, Adam, I'm surprised my non-technological ass was able to jump in this room.
It's really easy. I tell people all the time, it's very simple.
I figured out. I'm an Android guy.
Me too.
But when I'm watching you, I use the iPhone provided by work, and I kept trying to get in on either Google or Chrome, and then suddenly it said, "Hold up, use this Safari thing," and boom, I was there.
That's when you do the when you're on an iPhone, it's the Safari thing. Yeah, it's iPhones are weird. I'm an Android guy.
Well, I got it, and of course I'll be listening. Keep up the good work, and I'm always in the room.
Thank you, Keaton. We appreciate it. Thanks for hopping in and giving us some insight too, brother. I really appreciate it.
All right, go Birds.
Go Birds. Happy New Year, bud.
Happy New Year.
All right. So Keenan pops in to give us some insight there. Nice to hear from someone who's been at the games. And it's like, it's basically backing up what we thought, right? The Eagles are predictable, right? They're just too predictable. And I don't expect them to figure it out, guys. I just don't. This has been going on for 5 weeks now. Okay. Do I hope they do? Of course I hope I hope just something clicks and everything takes off and we start looking like a good football team again. I just don't have any faith in it right now. We can talk about all the stats we want. The only stat that truly matters is the final score. That's what matters, right? And over the last 5 games, we are averaging getting beat. Basically 30-20. And that is a piss poor defense and an offense that cannot figure its way out. So what started out looking like a fantastic year at 10-1 has now just completely gone up in smoke. And I don't expect it to get better. I would tell you we have 2 games left. And I would tell you to enjoy them as best as you can. Let's hop over to the room one more time before we call it a night here. David kind of don't watch the Eagles, so I can only speak to the league. Yeah, and you're not wrong, dude. You're not wrong at all. The league is very pass happy. I totally get what you're saying. But the Birds, I mean, even overall, we are 9th rushing offense, 16th passing offense. So there's no continuity. There's no creativity. It's not a good flow. It's either, we got to run the ball, so let's try to run it 12 times in a row. Or, they run it 3 times in a row, gain good yardage, and then pass 8 times in a row. It's all over the place, and it's ugly. Bryant Walden, I've been sick of the Eagles. Hopefully, if we win, you can ask me. David Conant, when the Cowboys lose. No, I don't see the Cowboys losing again. I hope they do. Of course I hope. I always hope Dallas loses. I expect them to jump out early on Washington, and I expect the Birds to pull all the starters when that happens. That's what I think is going to happen at 4:30 on Sunday. I think by 6 o'clock, we're going to be, turning on the local news. And whatever, we're the 5 seed. Keenan, this Coquito is kicking Lou. So that's why I jumped out. Didn't want to sound like Quippy. Russ Taylor, I've been getting beat like a redheaded stepchild that always goes to Pat's and Geno's for cheesesteaks. Ouch. Bryant Walden went from sugar to shit in 5 weeks. That's exactly it, dude. That's it. And I would tell you we were getting a little bit fortunate before that, particularly the Buffalo and Kansas City games. Right? Oh, I'm sorry, Dave. I didn't quite read. I thought you. I'm sorry, we weren't on the same page there. Yeah, that's my line. You guys all know it. When Dallas loses, America wins. All right, folks. That's all I got for tonight. Gave you some stats. We did a little ranting. We talked a little football. Thank you again to Keenan Harbin for popping in, giving us his insight from what he's seeing, looking over the top of the field. What is this? Califoot, remember, being what? I must have missed your comment, dude. Let me go back. There it is. David Califoot, can we get a moment of silence for Perry High School? My kids went to that school before we moved. Very scary. Boner of the week is a douche. Wow, dude. Did not realize. And no, was not trying to ignore you. I am very sorry I didn't catch that comment earlier. Damn. Thoughts and prayers out to everyone involved in that, and certainly to your family too. I know you're taking connection to that man, dude. I am sorry. I feel terrible. Wow. You rendered a little speechless here. Another school shooting, and it just, this one is where David Califoot's kids were going in that district and whatnot before they moved. So our hearts and thoughts and prayers out to everyone involved there. Dave, I'm sorry I did not see that comment before. It was not intentional. You've got all our support as always. But we are going to get out of here for the night. I hope, we'll hope for something better on Sunday, like we do every week. I hope everybody had a happy New Year. Looks like everyone was safe. That's the most important thing. Once again, thank you to Keenan for popping in and giving us his insight from what he's seen on the field, and from the reactions of the crowds live there. I'm sure we're I don't think I'd want to be an opposing fan when all of that is going on. But yeah, we are going to get out of here. This has been the Unhappy Gilmore Show, powered by Green Legion Radio, a part of the Green Legion Radio family. Thank you, as always, for joining us. Come on back again next week when we will get ready for our playoff game, whatever the hell game that is going to be, and however piss poor we look coming out of this Giants game. Until then, folks, be safe. A normal weekend coming up, so you don't have to wait till Tuesday for the judge to come back in, but I don't recommend it either way. Be safe. Take care of each other. Enjoy. Relax. Try to enjoy the birds if you can. And, yeah, we'll see you next week. As always, folks, go Birds! All right, kids, that's going to do it for me. You take care. We love you. We'll see you next week.